At 8:30 in the morning on a Saturday. It came up a couple times, like when we were doing our practitioner panel, so like, well, Saturday at 8:30 was really, I had to do a lot of healing around that. I was like, oh my God, I'm so sorry to push you through that traumatic experience. I've always been a morning person. So, I've always gotten up at like 5 or 6 a.m. And so that was like 8:30 is plenty of time. I got up, exercise, had their coffee and breakfast, and turns out that is a unique experience unto myself. Okay. Welcome. Please turn to the person you're closest to, look them right in the eyes, and just say, my God, you're gorgeous. My God, you're gorgeous. It is just true. Happy Mother's Day to the mothers in the house. We honor you. Mother's Day is an interesting time because for some it's a celebration and other times it's a very painful day. A day that brings up a lot of stuff. And this is a unique community because we don't have tons of mothers in the congregation, but I do like to honor those that are here, and our mothers, whether they be still with us in this planetary experience or partying it up in another dimension, we just send love and light to all of them and thank them for the opportunities we've had. Even if our mothers were challenging, or you can fill in whatever adjective you'd like, they were our teachers. And the more that the older I get, the more I understand that there are no coincidences, there are no accidents. And we enrolled these wonderful teachers that we call parents to support us in our commitment to evolve into what we are today. And so without our parents, many of us wouldn't even ever found a spiritual path. Because a lot of times, the stories that we carry from our relationship with them, they get to be so overwhelming and so heavy that we have to find spiritual relief so we can forgive them, so that we can create the space to see them as good, And so it's something to contemplate. Even if your relationship with your mother didn't feel loving, there's something in it to be taken away. And in that, when we look at it from that perspective, then we can be grateful for the relationship in whatever form it showed up as, And today I'd actually like to talk about, I was thinking about, what do we talk about on Mother's Day? Because I'm not going to spend a whole thing about moms. But I would like to talk about the divine feminine, the creative essence in the universe. And I was really thinking about femininity in the LGBTQ experience, and how for some, we've completely tried to reject any kind of femininity because it's seen as weak or unappealing. Others have learned to completely embrace it as a sign of strength. And that's what I think. I think that there's not a stronger force on the planet than the divine feminine, because it is creative. It literally is the furnace of creation. And what I love about it, when you contemplate the divine feminine, truly embracing the divine feminine is so, and we talk about this a lot here actually, it's so counterintuitive to the patriarchal consciousness of American culture, and which is so wackadoodle, and we really, weren't we so close to November, guys? Were we so close and almost, and then, God, anyway. So we're learning, but what I think that we're really seeing is, wow, this mode of operation is no longer working. This bullying, this overcompensating essence, because people don't know how to embrace their femininity, their compassionate, creative side, so they overcompensate with fists and anger and rage. We're seeing how it just doesn't work anymore, and nothing actually gets done. Things get broken, right? So the divine feminine which is truly, like I said, it's the creative essence that we all have within us. It does nothing. It doesn't need to do anything to bring forth life. Think about the natural elements of our creative process. The woman receives and then grows and then expresses. And that's the design. That's the design. So we have it asked backwards. We think that we have to force something into being in order to make it happen, right? We have to hit the pavement. We got to roll up our sleeves. We got to make it happen, right? And any new thought community, any new thought teaching will tell you that do less. Allow yourself to create in the stillness. And we call it, many will call it the law of attraction, right? How many people saw the movie The Secret? Yeah? Really? You never saw The Secret, y'all? Oh, The Secret was like the jam like 10 years ago. And it's good. I mean, it did a lot to introduce the idea of the law of attraction. It really did a lot. And now we know that there's more to it. And so the gist of the law of attraction, or what The Secret told you, is your thoughts are created. It's the law of cause and effect, right? So they would say, focus on what you'd like, and then eventually, if you really do it and you release all the other thoughts that would be a hindrance to the actualization of this vision coming forth, if you really focus on it, put your full awareness on what it is you're interested in, you will manifest it. You will attract that to you, right? And yeah, okay, cool. But what that did to a lot of people is it terrified them to have any other thoughts. And they thought that if they were thinking anything else other than good thoughts, then they were totally screwing themselves over. And that's what I did for a long time. And so it was almost like, God became like the thought police or like the Gestapo. And it's like, I'm only thinking good thoughts. I'm only thinking good thoughts. Don't want anything to fall on me. I'm only thinking good thoughts. And this was when I lost all my money. It was right before I started creating Inspire. And I was like, I have no job and I have no money and I'm staying in my friend's room. I'm like, I'm fine, no, but I'm really good. I'm abundant. Ooh, I can feel all the abundance around me right now. And because I was terrified that if I was being real with myself, that I was going to create this devastating reality that I would never be able to get out of. And it wasn't until Reverend Jennifer told me, well, what if you just became willing to feel abundant? Because I was walking around trying to declare something that I didn't actually feel. And what the experience was an experience of me lying to myself, that I was just a crazy person, you know what I mean? And so when I was able to stop being like, I feel abundant, even though I have less than no money in my bank account, but I'm abundant, I can see $1 million in my bank account, but I couldn't. I became willing. I'm willing to feel abundant now. I'm willing to feel prosperous, because I was so willing. I didn't know how, but I became willing. And then she said, well, just work with that. Try not to take any reactive actions. Just be willing and stay with that. And deepen your spiritual practice. And this is when I started to do, because listen, I had lost all my clients. I wasn't working. I was rebuilding I was personal training at the time, so I was rebuilding my client base. So I had a lot of hours free in the day. And so I devoted those free hours to going within, to being quiet. And I'd be with myself and I would breathe. And when I learned to just be still and quiet and breathe, I was able to get a little space in between the constant thoughts that were telling me, you got to figure something out. It's all going to hell. You got to do something quick, because soon you're going to be living under that bridge all alone and smoking crack. I don't know why I always go there. Suddenly I'm going to develop a crack addiction and live under a bridge because work is slow, but that's just where my mind goes. That's where my mind goes, but I was able to create space between those thoughts, you know what I mean? And then I began to observe the thoughts and be like, those aren't even my thoughts. I don't even believe that. And that's where I learned, oh, okay, our thoughts are creative, but I don't have to attach to every thought that comes through our mind. And that's when I really began to learn about one-mindedness. We all share the same thoughts. We have between 50 to 70,000 thoughts a day, okay? 50 to 70,000 thoughts a day. They're not all ours. We're sharing them. And so a lot of them are just recycled stuff that we're sharing, and it depends on what you decide to pick up on that you'll experience. Because all thoughts are creative, and they create form on some level. But a lot of times people get that confused, right? They're like, well, and this is where I think the secret could have got a little more specific, thank you very much, is you create, all thoughts are creative, it creates form, but that could also be thought form. Meaning, you might be working a job and terrified that you're going to lose the job. And it doesn't necessarily mean you're going to manifest yourself losing the job. But you're going to have the anxiety and the worry and the fear. You're going to have that feeling. So you're creating on the level of thought form. And the creating a level of thought form still gives you the experience. Have you ever just had like a panic attack because you're afraid of what might happen even though it hasn't actually happened? Uh-huh. Do you know that all of your stress and your worry and your fear lives in the future? Which is just a fantasy? It's true. If you are ever able to become disciplined enough to take a breath and bring yourself present in this present moment, you'll be able to understand all of my needs are met. Because right here, right now, I can take this breath. Thank God. But when you go into the future, my God, Byron Katie said, if you want stress in your life, get a future. You know what I mean? If you want stress, just get a future. And so can you be able to hold a vision of what you would like to unfold without attachment? Because as soon as we become attached to the ideas that we would like to create, then we close ourselves off from the possibilities that await us. Because we don't actually know what's best for us. We love to think that we do, but we don't actually know what's best for us. But thank God there is a component in our mind that does. And it knows how to get there. If we are willing to let go of our death grip on what we think the best case scenario is supposed to look like and open ourselves up to what is actually unfolding for us. That's called grace. That's called harmony. Is leaning into that leading force, following our loving intuition without attachment. And so the divine feminine, we can call forth the divine feminine and embrace it. And doesn't it feel freeing to say, I'm going to embrace my femininity? I'm going to embrace the divine feminine. I remember that when I did Heidi was showing me how she embraces the divine feminine. It was actually pretty funny. I think we should have like the Heidi cam out there, and just a screen that shows her reactions to everything I say. What was I saying? Divine feminine, all that good stuff, embrace her femininity. Okay, when I did the TV show Workout, it was a reality show in Bravo that I did for 3 years. After the first season, an article came out that so totally sideswiped me, and it was an interview that was done by one of my cast members. It was the other gay cast member, and for whatever reason, he thought that he was like the butch one, and which okay. But in that article, he said how glad he was that he was on the show, so that people who are watching the show could have a relatable experience with a gay person. In essence, and then he referred me to like Jack on Will and Grace, and said that not everyone can relate to me because I'm too effeminate. I did a counter interview in which I stated that I thought that was internalized homophobia, is exactly what we're working with, and that there's some sort of ridiculous, made-up class pyramid in the gay community in which passable guys are at the top and everyone else falls under there, you know what I mean? And that somehow we have less value because we're not, what did he say? He's not typically gay. Ooh. And I was like, do you have sex with men? Well, then that's pretty typically gay. I don't know what you mean. Oh, you mean like they don't know that you're gay? Oh, okay. And like there was something proud, like pride in being able to pass for that. The other thing that I noticed hanging out, because I was hanging out with a lot of lesbians at that time, because the central character of Workout was a lesbian. It's the first time that a lesbian was the central character of any reality show. So it was kind of cool to be a part of history, even though, you know, whatever. Whatever. But I was hanging out with a lot of lesbians, and I would, let me tell you something, lesbians had my back during that time. That was my last years of drinking, and so I would go out and I'd black out all the time. And there was so many occasions that I would wake up in someone's guest room, but I would always have like a long sleeve like Hurley shirt on. And I'd be like, where am I? And I'd go into the kitchen and there'd be a lovely lesbian and her dogs, and she'd be like, I saved your ass last night. I was like, thank you. More than one occasion. So listen. Anyway, but what I noticed was, it was the opposite. Like, there was a group of women who actually tried to deny the masculine women and tried to separate themselves from that, saying, I'm not that. And they were like resentful for that. And it really hurt my heart. Because I remember growing up in Seattle, when I came out of the closet, it was a group of lesbians, dykes, that really had my back. They really took care of me and ushered me through the coming out process and let me know that I was totally taken care of and special and loved, and I never felt any shame in my game. It was because of those women that really took care of me. They nurtured me. So I didn't understand why there was such a divide with the women. And I didn't understand why there's such a divide with the men. And it's all about what other people think that we are. And it was trying to pass in the eyes of the oppressors. You know, it was that oppression sickness thing that they talk about. And then what we begun to realize, and I think what we've done together in this community, which I think is so beautiful, and it is because we are able to harness the healing essence of the divine feminine, the creative essence, is to heal the need to have anyone approve of who we are. That we have learned to love ourselves so deeply. We have become our own mothers. And we have been able to nurture and support and compassionately uplift ourselves in embracing who we are, our authentic expression. And there are no limitations to that. There is nothing that you need do or in any way that you need to act to be any more acceptable in the eyes of God. There is nothing you need to do that could possibly enhance your value in any way. And isn't life so much more beautiful when we can just embrace every component and aspect of ourselves? I remember the first time I saw myself on television, I had this whole idea of who I thought I was. And when I saw myself on television, I was like, oh yeah, I am gay. Wow. I didn't realize I was that kind of gay, but I am that kind of gay. But it was so freeing for me because I was like, fuck it. I just be me, you know? People kind of liked it. And I realized I have these hands. And I really realized them in my old age, like they're just weird, wacky hands. I have wacky hands. So there's like the energy flowing through them. And so when I was able to embrace, I think for a while I was like trying to like, let me answer. I just let him go. And what I began to realize is people really resonated. And it was funny because there was a time when just being yourself was courageous. Like, wow, that's really courageous. You're just being yourself. Well, let me tell you something. That was then. Now, my brothers and sisters of trans experience have like that's literally play. They're just being themselves. And there's a new wave of consciousness, which I think is so brilliant, that is expressing itself in the LGBTQ experience, where it's just completely just blowing out any attachment to what we think gender is. And gender now is a concept that you get to develop and decide on your own. I saw this posting on Facebook where it was a trans activist who I just love, Addison Rose Vincent. I love Addison. I mean, let me tell you something. Talk about guts. They are so amazing. They just put it out there. And somebody said, and they posted, can you please stop putting your baby's gender on announcing your baby's gender on Facebook? It's creepy and it's weird. And I was like, this is like, oh, chill out, Addison. And I was like, well, in a way, I kind of get it because, like, now is a completely different game. So they might be born with a certain anatomy, but we don't know what they're going to identify in. And what a beautiful idea to leave that so completely open that they just get to develop and decide based on how they feel in any direction that they want to go. Isn't that profound? And I think that this is actually where we're evolving to as a species, because this is where the spiritual stuff really gets into play, guys, because we say, Mark said it just a moment ago, we are so much more than these physical bodies. You know, for years we were told that this is where it begins and ends, but we know we are so much more than that it doesn't even matter. And as we continue to evolve spiritually, as there are more communities like this that are putting more love, as we do more healing, we allow our true natures to come out, and it is coming out so many wonderful, colorful ways that there's no way to try to contain it. And why would we want to? You know? And this is what self-reflection allows us to do. Because in self-reflection, we begin to really, truly know ourselves and embrace ourselves. And this is why spiritual community is so valuable, because you realize that you have support as you lean into a new awareness of who you think you are. So you can allow who you truly are to come forth. Isn't that profound? So I ask you, what are you giving birth to in your life? What is coming forth to be expressed in your life? And are you going to be courageous enough to do nothing, to allow it to guide you? Can you resist the temptation? Now listen, there's nothing wrong with the masculine, and we'll talk about that on Father's Day. The masculine are the tools that we use to bring forth the creative essence. But why not in this time of spring, when things are really getting ready to blossom in full effect? But it takes a little time, and we have to allow that process, that creative process, it's time to really cultivate so it can come forth in full expression, right? So let's use this time, allow nature to be a representative to guide us, and do less. Just for the next month, do less. Be with yourself. Take time. Cancel plans. Stay in. Practice self-care. Quiet the mind. Go within. Be still and see what is brewing right now. And give it the space to show you the next step to take instead of telling it what's going to happen. And when we let go of the restrictions, when we let go of, when we do the healing, and this is the biggest healing that we all get to do, is when we heal the need for other people's approval, when we are able to heal the fear of what other people think, then we have truly a platform to build something new and strong and interesting and meaningful and beautiful and powerful. And thank God you have co-creators, you have architects here ready to support you in that process. Isn't that good? Yeah, so Mother's Day, we think about what is coming forth, what is ready to be birthed through our ideas, through our inspirations, through our talents. And can we cultivate the divine feminine by just chilling out? That was always the advice, like the spiritual giants in my life would tell me to do. They'd say, Jesse, right now, the most important spiritual teaching you can contemplate right now is this: chill out. And I hated it. And now I get it. And I do it as often as I can. You know? So, I'm going to end with one last. Can I have 5 more minutes? Is that cool? Heidi, cool? Yeah. Listen, I know who's in charge here. Like, don't think I don't know who's in charge here. She's earned it. She's earned it. So with the Resist March coming, with Gay Pride coming, this really is a time to honor what we've created as a community, as a collective, through the practice of self-love. It really is that, because it took the commitment of the Trailblazers to say, we are just as worthy as you are. We deserve the exact same things that you do, that ignited this movement, you know? And that doesn't always look passive. It doesn't always look passive. Chris and I are going through an experience where, and it's a new experience for us because we've never it's, I'm not going to go into too much detail, but I will share that it feels as though we have encountered discrimination. And it's new because I've never really faced it in my life. And I realized what came up for me, what's really coming up for me for healing, is this thing that I was taught by my dad, which is don't make a stir. Don't make a stir. Like, don't, you're being over dramatic. Just buckle down, keep your head down, and just let it pass through. And that's what my initial instinct was, you know, and I was like, okay. And then I was really sitting with it, and I thought, you know, love is powerful. Love is so powerful. And love does not mean that we have to be passive. And love does not mean that you get to be a pushover. Love can be fierce, because let me tell you, talking about divine feminine, there is some fierce feminine energy that we can harness in as well. And I realized that this is the time for me, and it took a lot of talking with my peeps that I talked to, that I lean on for support, to say, you know, you're an activist, and you haven't really been called forth too much to really stand in that loud, because maybe this is the time that it's being called forth, and it's time that, in essence, that you grow some cojones, and you know, that you really ground in and you do this. You know, you be courageous enough to stand in that, and what you know is right. And so I'm sharing this because as we go forth and we think about the Resist March that we're participating in, as we think about Pride, as we think about what our role is right now in the climate of our country, that love, we say, allow the divine feminine, take time to yourself, quiet the mind. And I still advise you to do that. But also, we quiet our minds so we can hear clearly the voice of guidance. And love oftentimes will take you to the places that feel scary, because it's time to heal it. It's time to heal that. And oftentimes what it looks like is you are worthy enough to take a stand and ask for what you deserve. And you shouldn't be scared to do it. And it's not coming from a place of overcompensation. It's coming from a place of truth. And we have the ability to transform people's minds through loving ourselves so strongly and being that and saying, love sometimes says no. Love sometimes say, what you are doing is hurting people. You're going to stop now. And I'm not moving until you do. And that's the power of love, the dynamic essence of love. And so together, I'm going to harness this fierce energy that we have here, but I'm also going to extend a request from you all to keep Christopher and I in your hearts and your prayers right now. And as we kind of navigate through what seems a little confusing and strange. And there's a lot of healing coming up for us. And so I'm grateful to have this community of people that can support us and lift us up. And that's the power of community. As we bring our attention, like we said from The Secret, you focus on what you're interested in. So let's focus on harmony and peace and the greatest possible outcome, which is always unfolding when we move from love. And we'll keep that essence and energy as we march in June. Yes? Yes. Let's go with that. Holding our hand to our heart. Let us just say, we are grateful. We are so grateful. We are so thankful for the opportunity to come together. Knowing that whenever two or more come together with a shared intention to experience a greater awareness of love's presence, that a sacred space is actualized. And so we lean into the sacredness of this moment, of this breath. We are grateful to do so. Each breath is sacred because we are sacred. And we just let go of anything that stands in the way of us remembering the truth of who we are, of leaning into it, of actualizing it. We give thanks for all the opportunities we have to remember who and what we are. Love, 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 love. Love expressing love, expressing love. And so we channel and harness all of those divine qualities that are in us now, knowing that we don't have to get anything, but simply allow what is to come forth and express. So we're allowing it now. And we are feeling the freedom that comes when we say yes to love. And we dedicate our healing now to all forms of life, any form of life that is suffering in this moment. May they feel the relief of the presence of love that we are sending to them now, knowing that where they are, we are, for we are one. And in grace and gratitude, we release this word, we let it be, and so it is. Amen.
Change your heart.